Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started.
Okay, so this deep dive, we're tackling Rex Ogle's When We Ride, and wow, it does not hold back from the start.
No, it really doesn't. It throws you right into, well, absolute terror.
Yeah, imagine this. Someone's forearm is crushing your throat, you can barely breathe, you get slammed against a wall.
And then that feeling, the cold metal of a gun pressed right to your temple, life flashing before your eyes.
And someone screaming right in your face, "Where's my money?"
It's incredibly intense, such a visceral opening, and that's really where our journey with this book begins.
Exactly. This book gives you this raw, chronological account of a really tough time in one teenager's life. It's all about friendship, loyalty, survival, harsh realities.
So our mission here is to follow that story step by step. We'll pull out the key moments, the emotional beats, the turning points that lead to that awful opening scene.
We want you to understand the pressures, the people involved, the world these characters live in, and the impossible choices they face.
It's like getting inside the head of the person driving the getaway car, metaphorically speaking. So, yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so who's telling this story? Our narrator is Diego Miguel Benavides.
Right, but he has nicknames. Deegs, from his dad who's gone, and Benny, from his best friend Lawson.
And Benny feels like the name that really sticks throughout the story, doesn't it? It's tied so closely to that friendship.
Totally. So Benny's a high school senior. He wants to go to college, but he's full of self-doubt. Thinks his chances are low, like slim to none. I'm nobody.
And he's working this diner job he absolutely hates, scraping leftover eggs off plates. Ugh. Dreaming of something better.
He also has this car, right? An old 80 Cadillac DeVille.
Yeah, Maria Carmen. Silver, red leather inside. His mom gave it to him. And he has this quirky habit of thanking the car.
It's a small thing, but it says a lot about him finding some stability or ritual in a pretty chaotic life.
Definitely. And that need for control, trying to be better, it comes from somewhere deep. His mom's past struggles with alcohol, his dad leaving because of it.
Right, and her sobriety journey. She made him promise me you won't be like me.
And that promise shapes everything for Benny. No smoking, no drinking, no fucking around. He's driven by this need to stay in control.
But his mom, despite their struggles, she's his rock when it comes to education, always pushing him.
Education is everything.
Yeah.
You're smart, you work hard, you'll get in. She's saving up for application fees, telling him about scholarships.
Even while working 2 jobs. It's powerful. And Betty's clinging to that, writing essays, dreaming of tomorrow's better than today.
It's his anchor. But then there's Lawson.
Lawson Pierce, his best friend since 3rd grade. The connection is instant, almost.
Yeah, they bonded over having dads who left. Lawson even defended Benny from a bully, punched the kid, said, "My dad left too. Ain't your fault. Dads suck."
That theme of chosen family comes through so strongly. Brothers ain't always made by blood. Sometimes brothers just find each other.
But their childhood friendship playgrounds, G.I. Joe, it's really different from their reality now in high school.
Benny points that out, right? That was before high school, before Lawson grew tall, before he started failing classes, before he started selling.
Lawson's described as real quick, real slick, a magician turning weed into cash at school. He's charismatic, definitely a risk taker.
Always pushing Benny to live a little, which immediately clashes with Benny's whole approach to life.
And that tension ramps up when Lawson starts selling weed. Easy money, he calls it.
And because Lawson always needs a ride, Benny naturally becomes his driver.
You see Benny's conflict right away. I try not to mind. It's just weed, right? But it clearly bothers him.
Even small details, like Lawson paying for gas with crumpled bills from selling, just highlights that growing wedge between them.
And this is all happening against the backdrop of their neighborhood, which sounds pretty rough.
Yeah, trash in the street, cars and bricks, bars on windows. It paints a picture of limited options,
Which makes Benny's mom's efforts stand out even more. Working 2 jobs, keeping the house spotless, almost like a defense mechanism against her past.
Idle hands are the devil's playground. And I don't want to drink. That explains so much. But she still prioritizes Benny's steadying over cleaning.
It's a constant sacrifice. So Benny starts driving Lawson for actual sales.
And you see Lawson's street smarts, like outside the 7-Eleven, making sure he gets paid before handing anything over.
And their different lifestyles are so clear. Lawson drinking malt liquor.
While Benny's pouring ginger ale into his cup, staying quiet about why he doesn't drink, but always thinking about his mom.
That quiet resistance. Then there's the park scene. Benny's trying to do homework.
And Lawson's just dismissing it all. Grades don't mean nothing. All we got is now.
But even Lawson has some lines, right?
Yeah.
He won't sell the 13-year-olds.
Yeah, it shows he's not completely gone. Maybe. Still fragments of that kid Benny knew. But he's also paranoid, thinking someone watching might be 5-0.
Then the money thing becomes a direct fight. Lawson tries to pay Benny $40 for driving.
And Benny refuses. Drug money.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it.
Lawson's reaction is pretty intense. He rips the bills up, forces Benny to take them. Either you take it or I trash it.
Ugh. It just shows how toxic that money is and the pressure Lawson's putting on him.
Things really escalate when Lawson makes Benny go inside Christina's place. Supposedly for 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. It turns into this whole scene. Gross couch, musty air, cartoons on mute, Led Zeppelin playing, and just a mountain of weed on the table.
And they're making dime bags. But then the phone call.
The phone call. Urgent. Mentioning someone named Trent. A debt and just pure fear in Christina's voice. Fuck, fuck, fuck.
That's the first big red flag. This is way bigger than just high school dealing.
Definitely. Leaving there, Benny is so frustrated. That took forever. He feels his own future slipping away while waiting for Lawson.
And Lawson's just worried about getting the munchies, listing junk food, dismissing healthy stuff as for rich people. Another little jab about their different worlds.
Yeah, the gap between them is just widening. Lawson seems almost reckless about the risks. He's 17, thinks juvie is the worst that can happen. Doesn't seem worried about turning 18 soon.
He even kind of romanticizes the danger, thinking folks like a little danger.
Then, at that party, Benny's on the sidelines watching Lawson sell, then make out with Lori.
Lori, who seems to come from a much wealthier background. She offers Benny weed, tells him to be cool.
And Benny refuses, I'm good. But Lawson actually defends him.
Yeah, he tells Lori he ain't a loser, Benny's tight, he just don't smoke. And then says, bros before hoes. That loyalty is still kicking.
But it gets tested hard when Benny's mom smells the weed on his clothes.
Oh boy, yeah, she confronts him.
He lies about smoking himself, but stays silent about Lawson, and his mom just lays it out. I don't like Lawson. He's bad for you.
Benny defends him fiercely, though. He's my best friend. Lawson's always been there for me.
It's that classic dilemma. Mom's worried. Benny's loyal. She warns him about trouble. He insists his choices are his own.
And the contrast with Lawson's mom, it's heartbreaking. She knows he sells and takes the money.
Yeah, just wow. Different worlds, different parenting, different kinds of pressures.
But Lawson does stand up for Benny, too. Gets suspended for fighting kids who call Benny names.
Don't say shit about Benny. It shows that deep down, that bond is still there, even as things get messy.
Then comes Lawson's 18th birthday at Lori's house.
And the wealth difference is just screaming at them. Walls are tall and white, everything polished, like it's saying, you'll never have this.
And turning 18, that's a huge turning point legally, right?
Yeah.
No more juvie.
Jail becomes a very real possibility.
And at that party, maybe feeling the pressure or just wanting to connect, Benny actually tries weed.
Lawson coaxes him, just one hit.
Yeah. And then he's stoned, laughing, ends up at Waffle House. It feels like a big deal given how strict he is with himself.
Later, though, there's that quiet moment. On the hood of Maria Carmen, looking at the stars.
Lawson gets vulnerable. Admits he wishes he was like Benny, walking the straight path. Says his failures are his own fault. He even says he'll quit smoking weed.
It sounds like a breakthrough. But the very next day, he's doing a wake and bake. Breaks the promise immediately.
Dismisses what he said when he was stoned. Benny challenges him. Right. Quit for 7 days.
Yeah, prove it. And Lawson actually does it.
Yeah.
For 7 days.
But then he ruins it by joking about celebrating with a joint, laughing at Benny's reaction, saying he sounds like his mother.
Ouch. It just shows how stuck he is. Maybe how unable or unwilling he is to really change that part of his life.
And stopping selling. That's a non-starter. He shows Benny the shoebox full of cash.
10s and 20s. Ain't no one our age making this kind of dough. He sees it as his only way.
Which leads to the next big terrible step. Cocaine.
At another party, Benny sees it. Lawson selling white powder. Sees him and Lori snorting it.
This isn't just weed anymore. This is a whole different level of danger.
Betty confronts him. What are you doing? And Lawson is just dismissive. It's just a little coke.
Tries to twist his words, saying he only promised to stop smoking weed.
Benny's reaction is pure shock. So now you're selling coke? What the fuck, dude?
And Lori piles on, you're not his father.
That leads to that awful moment. Betty says they're brothers, and Lawson just shuts him down coldly. No, we're not.
Devastating.
Just gut-wrenching for Benny.
So Benny draws a line. No rides if Lawson has coke. He starts to drive off.
But Lawson blocks the car, looking hurt, swears he got rid of it, offers to be searched.
And Benny caves, lets him in, torn between standing his ground and not abandoning his brother, despite what Lawson just said.
He's just so worried about them both ending up in jail, ruining his college chances.
That tension explodes at Christmas. Lawson shows up high.
Mom sees it, tells Benny, is Lawson on drugs, demands he leave.
And Benny makes that impossible choice. If he goes, I go too.
His mom forces it? Then that's your choice. You choose.
And he chooses Lawson. Leaves his mom on Christmas. They get Chinese food. He comes home. She's gone. Just leftovers left out. Heartbreaking.
And the stress, maybe the heartbreak, it triggers his mom's relapse.
Yeah. She calls him drunk, needing a ride from a bar. He picks her up. She's crying, apologizing, puking, asking him again, be better than me.
He helps her clean up. She agrees to go back to AA. He offers to work extra shifts to give her rides. It just shows the weight Benny carries.
Meanwhile, Lawson tries to help in his own way, gives Benny $500 for college.
You're going, I ain't, insists he take it. Makes that dark joke about needing bail money. My life, that's a joke, and I'm the punchline.
Benny takes it, but he knows where it came from, feels sick about it, worried Lawson's just given up.
New Year's Eve, another party, older crowd, Lawson's selling, tells Benny, this year's going to be the best year ever.
But Benny's just thinking about the money Lawson owes, the missing fortune, the danger he's in.
Lawson even talks about dropping out of school to sell full-time.
Benny feels physically sick, tries to make one last deal, stay in school, make an effort, and Benny will keep driving him.
Lawson agrees, then immediately pulls out a joint. 30 days is over. Ugh.
Benny just holds onto that one rule. No smoking in Maria Carmen. A tiny boundary in all the chaos.
Then his mom relapses again. Spilled Jim Beam on the carpet. Tells Benny it's all too hard.
He helps her pour the rest down the drain. Just another heavy weight on his shoulders.
Even school becomes a pressure point. The principal warns him about Lawson.
Yeah, praises Benny's grades 12th in the class, but says flat out, don't let him be a bad influence.
Benny wants to tell Lawson about his rank, but how can he? It would just twist the knife.
And then the kicker, Lori is salutatorian, second in the class.
Benny's shocked, maybe a little envious, given her background versus his struggle.
But Lori says something interesting, that Lawson makes her want to be better. Didn't say I would be. It's so complex.
Things keep spiraling. College party, Lawson selling. Benny gets drunk, can't drive, wakes up hungover at Lawson's.
Lawson tries to justify selling weed with statistics, comparing it to alcohol. A bleak point maybe, but still rationalization.
Makes a joke attempt at studying 8. I'm all learned up. Then needs a ride.
They go to Christina's old place, but she's gone. Skip down.
Benny hopes maybe this is Lawson's chance to get out. But
yeah, no.
Nope. Lawson and Lori are official. He says she makes him want to be better, but he needs a supplier. And then he needs a ride to meet Trent, back in business.
And that ride leads directly to the climax, the ambush.
Benny's waiting outside a house, studying, just like he waits outside his mom's AA meetings, waiting. But this time, a huge guy drags him inside. Dark room, passed out girl, Lawson in his underwear, and Trent.
Trent with the teardrop tattoo, immediately suspicious of Benny, makes him strip, checks him for a wire, humiliating and terrifying.
Trent lays it out. Lawson's taken over for Christina, has to sell double, calls it a promotion.
Lawson asks if he can refuse. Trent just puts a gun on the table, says no.
Just cold.
Yeah.
Benny's shaking uncontrollably.
After they leave, then he snaps, pulls over, punches a tree till his knuckles bleed.
Screams at Lawson to quit, calls Trent scary. Lawson refuses, says he's trapped, owes Trent money, blames Benny for stopping driving him before.
Insists he's careful, asks Benny to trust him. Benny argues back, you can't control circumstance, tells him he needs a real job, talks about his own responsibilities, his mom, the bills.
Is Lawson really trapped? Or is he choosing this? It's the question hanging over everything.
Lawson pleads for rides, uses their school deal. Benny feels sick, sees Lawson has no one else.
So he agrees. You know, got a bag. But sets that don't ask, don't tell rule, I don't want no shit about it.
Sees his own blood on Lawson's hands from the tree punching, knows it's a massive mistake.
That don't ask, don't tell phase sounds agonizing, driving him, wondering why. Brotherhood, loyalty, history.
Lori tells Benny he's lucky to have Lawson. He wonders if Lawson's lucky to have him.
Lawson offers more money. Benny refuses. Trust is gone. He doubts everything Lawson says.
Things get even dumber. Lawson deals from his own house. One-time thing.
Betty shoves him, calls him stupid, but sees the scared kid underneath it all.
Lori confirms his worst fears. Lawson's selling hard stuff now. Acid, Xanax, ecstasy. Benny knows this is bad, real bad.
It leads to that huge confrontation at school. Benny catches Lawson selling in the parking lot.
Wrestles him, pulls out the baggies. What the fuck, Lawson?
Lawson yells back the awful truth, because Trent told me to.
Benny says, call the cops. Lawson's terrified Trent will find him, kill him.
Benny insists he has to stop. Lawson asks, how? And Benny has no answer. I don't know. That's devastating.
Benny avoids him for 2 weeks, tries to pull back, focus on his own life.
But Lawson confronts him in the cafeteria. What the fuck? You ditched me.
Benny finally cuts him off. No more rides. I can't, Lawson. I can't risk it anymore.
Lawson is furious. We had a deal. Benny offers help with schoolwork. Lawson rejects it. Fuck that.
Questions their brotherhood. We brothers or not? Benny insists they are, but he can't drive him if he's holding.
Lawson screams his life is ruined anyway, slams his tray, yells, fuck you, and storms out. Benny wonders if that's the end.
2 weeks of silence. Benny tries to stay busy, school, work, mom's meetings. Sees Lawson dealing across the street.
Mom sees it too. Threatens to call the cops. Benny threatens to never speak to her again if she does. Hates them both in that moment.
Just terrified for Lawson. Is his life ruined, or is it gonna end?
Then the fight in the hallway. Lawson yelling at Lori. She broke up with him, needs to focus on college. He's enraged.
Says she sounds like Benny. When Benny intervenes, Lawson punches him hard.
Knocks him down, nose bleeding everywhere. But Benny sees the regret, the fear in Lawson's eyes, sees the scared little boy.
Lawson screams, tries to leave. Principal stops him, warns him he won't graduate. Lawson leaves anyway, saying he never had a chance. Final.
The last days of school feel empty. Benny feels like he betrayed Lawson somehow, even though, well, it's complicated.
Can't even say Lawson's name when his mom asks about graduation invitations.
Graduation day arrives. Lori gives her speech. Benny's name is called. Mom cheers. He walks the stage.
And then he sees him. Lawson. At the exit. Just a glimpse.
Yeah, a familiar figure. Lawson gives him this subtle nod, almost a proud smile, then vanishes. Betty wonders if he imagined it.
Wow. But then they do talk again, right? At the party.
Yeah, after graduation, Lawson's there, just being charming, not selling. He asks Benny to talk.
Benny asks if he was really at graduation. Lawson confirms. I wouldn't let you graduate without me being there. That loyalty again.
Lawson shared this dream he had. Being 40, on a farm, wife, kids, dog. Simple, happy. Woke up crying.
Unsure if from happiness or sadness, Benny connects it to Candide. Cultivating your garden.
Lawson asks if that's a happy ending. Benny says, depends on how you look at it, but I'd like to think so. A little bit of hope, maybe.
Then Lawson apologizes for everything. Hitting him, the danger, the rides. I really fucked up, I'm sorry.
Benny doesn't say it's okay. He can't. But when Lawson asks, we good? Benny says, yeah, we're good. They do their handshake.
Lawson asks for one last ride home, swears he's not holding. Took the night off.
Benny hesitates, but agrees. Yeah, I'll give you a ride. Vanessa and Lori get in the back.
And that ride, it takes us right back to the beginning.
Exactly. The narrative loops. Benny waiting, the gun, Trent screaming about his money. Guns pointed at both of them.
Trent asks that horrible question, shoot you or shoot your friend.
In that split second, Lawson rushes Trent.
The other guy, the giant, aims at Lawson.
And Benny reacts. Instinct. Shoves past the giant, jumps towards Lawson.
Bang.
Time just slows. Benny looks at Lawson, sees red on his own shirt.
Realizes, it's not Lawson's blood, it's mine.
Devastating. Trent's crew runs. Lawson's kneeling over him, hands on his chest, blood everywhere. No.
Benny knows he's dying. Lawson's begging him, stay with me, brother.
Benny whispers, I don't think I am. Lawson asks why he did it. It should have been me.
Benny says, it's okay. You would have done the same for me. Calls him friend, ride or die, brother.
Lawson pleads, don't die, Benny. And Benny's last words are a promise he asks Lawson to make.
Echoing his own mom's plea to him, promise me you'll do better, you'll be better, get out of this town and then he's gone.
The perspective shifts then, just briefly, to Lawson.
Yeah, first time we hear his voice directly, he's driving away, into nowhere. Thinks the world never had his back, but Benny did.
And he paid for it, bought it with his life, even though I wasn't selling. Such a tragic line.
He's driving west, got the cash from the shoebox, thinks about Benny, his brother, hopes maybe that farm dream can happen someday, hopes he can finally make Benny proud.
The author's notes kind of echo that journey, right? The struggle of violence, drugs, loss. but also finding help, finding meaning through writing, through connection.
Yeah, it reinforces that message of resilience, the importance of support, even after immense hardship.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive into When We Ride is just, it's raw, an emotional gut punch.
Absolutely. It drags you through the complexities of friendship under extreme pressure, loyalty, impossible choices, the harsh realities some kids face.
What's really powerful is how it forces you, the listener, to think about those uncomfortable questions. Responsibility versus circumstance.
Yeah, how much is Lawson a product of his environment, and how much are his choices truly his own? Where does Benny's loyalty cross the line into enabling or even danger?
It raises that big question. In a world that feels rigged against you, where survival itself feels like the goal, how do you choose between saving yourself and saving somebody you love who's drowning?
It's a powerful look at how relationships shape us, for better or worse, and the devastating sacrifices that sometimes happen.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. When all your options seem bad, is the hardest choice, the one that feels like a betrayal, even if it's necessary for survival.
Something to definitely think about. It's a book that stays with you.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoy the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.